Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to, that's right, the Fanatical L's pregame show. We have myself, John Suchan, and Steve Gill in-house. Good morning, Steve. How are you today?
Good morning. Just another hot day here in Nashville before a cold front moves through.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll have some frost warnings by Tuesday night and Wednesday night.
Good old frost.
I love it. I'm not a fan of hot weather.
We've had a couple days up here in Columbus where we've had a couple on the outskirts, some frosty rooftops and things. But you're right, next week's going to be very chilly compared to what we've been used to, even up here. So we got a game coming up at 1 o'clock.
We do?
Yeah.
What?
Brownies play the Philadelphia Eagles.
Browns and Eagles. Yeah.
I want a Philly steak sandwich. Anybody want a Philly steak sandwich?
Sure. With?
What do they put on there? Like the cheese whiz and all that good
cheese
stuff?
Cheese whiz, right? Peppers, onions.
There's a place up here called, and I can't think of the name now, but it's up next to the Nationwide Arena where the hockey team plays here in Columbus. And they have a Philly steak sandwich. It's pretty damn good. So had it a couple of weeks ago. I was like, wow, that's pretty good stuff. So we're going to Philly. A lot of conversations this week. A lot of things, Deshaun Watson, Kevin Stefanski, play calling, you name it. Steve, you've got some news, though. I thought maybe we could start with that this morning a little bit, that you're hearing some from inside sources.
Yeah. I got a feeling, and I think this is pretty reliable, that Mr. Dorsey is going to be your play caller for this game. You have a lot of indications. I mean, first of all, Amari Cooper told everybody on Friday in an interview, when the team player interview, that the coaching staff got players together to get their input on how to change this.
Okay.
And then I also heard that Deshaun Watson is going to call more of the line protections, and that Mr. Dorsey was a little more hands-on this week in the game planning.
Okay.
So, and also Tony Grossi this week on the radio said he was under the impression that Dorsey might be calling plays. So I got a feeling that it's going to be, well, you're not going to see an official Denny's menu handover. I mean, there's not going to be trumpets and fireworks, and
no, damn
Ken Dorsey isn't going to run out on the field before the players and now the offensive coordinator and play caller for the Cleveland Browns. That's not going to happen. But we'll see if there's any uptick in the way this offense works, because geez, I mean, it is the worst offense in the NFL.
We need something. We need some type of change.
They need to inject something into this. It'll also help that Jack Conklin looks like he's going to play. Don't know where he's going to play, but I don't think he's been ruled out. He wasn't questionable
right
after practice on Friday, so that's good. And it's good to see Michael Hall and Mo Hurst activated. So, because
I'm looking forward to having those guys back. I mean, Mo Hurst, with the big belly rubs and all that,
because man, I don't know how, this is not the recipe for the Cleveland Browns to get better.
No.
I mean, this Philly team is very talented, but again, here we go again. We're playing a team that's got a not so great pass defense. And their only flaw on offense is their quarterback, Jalen Hurts. I mean, he turns the ball over. He's had 27 turnovers since the beginning of the first game last year in 2023.
Wow.
He's gone 9 straight games with a turnover. Second only to Patrick Mahomes, who has gone 10 straight games with a turnover.
Really?
So, yeah, I found that hard to believe. But then again, you throw one pick, throw 3 touchdowns. That's a pretty good margin of error that you're working with there.
Right. No, I mean, everybody is just looking forward to something today. I mean, I think Browns fans, if you're a Cleveland fan, before we get further, I want to congratulate the Cleveland Guardians for getting to the AS or American League Championship Series against the dreaded New York Yankees, or the hated New York Yankees.
Very hated New York.
Very
Yankees.
exciting time here in Cleveland, or if you're in Ohio or wherever if you're a Cleveland fan. It was a great moment. So everybody, we're very excited that they're moving on. And I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, well, if the Browns lose, it's okay because the Guardians are going to the playoffs." So, or going to the next step. So, but it still is, this is a Browns town, or Cleveland is a football town, and we're 1-4. Where all these things are not, playing Philly in Philly. It doesn't look good going into this game for a number of reasons. There are some folks coming back. We might see play calling being changed. That might be something to really keep our eye on during the game. We're hearing Nick Chubb might be coming back next week. Is that what you're
where
hearing?
did I hear that before? Let me think. It's on the tip of my tongue. Where did I hear that before? By the way, if you've been watching us all season, I've been telling you that all season.
Yes, you have. You stated that before I think the season started.
Yes, I did.
Many times. I think that will add another, layer, another something for Browns fans to kind of cling on to, hold on to, in hopes that maybe this season can be salvaged somehow. It's not looking great. If they come away with a loss today, with Nick Chubb coming back, it's going to be a mixed bag of emotions next week down at the stadium. If they come into that game against the Bengals 1-5, I'm happy that Nick Chubb's going to be back. But, we're not going to see Nick Chubb like we have in the past. I'm sure they're going to bring him back slowly. Is that what you would think, Steve?
I would think, but it's all up to Nick Chubb and how he feels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If he goes out there and feels fantastic and running like crazy, they'll just. I have a feeling I've heard he's going to be on a pitch count, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so back to this game this week against Philadelphia. They have a couple of their wide receivers coming back. Smith coming back, which is
Brown.
Yeah, and AJ Brown just going to add, concern for the Browns defense, who have let up some pretty big plays this season. Martin Emerson has been part of our conversation because he has not played particularly well in moments and stretches. How can we stop, today? What can we do in the secondary? What do you think we can do to kind of prevent something from getting away from us today?
First of all, I'm very worried about the secondary. I'm glad Denzel Ward is back, but we're running out of safeties.
Yeah.
I mean, Grant Delpit concussion, and no one's heard anything from Juan Thornhill, how he's doing. They're going to start a rookie. What's his name? Edmonds with McLeod, and they love to play that 3 safety set, and you can't do it if you don't have 3 safeties, 3 healthy ones. So I'm very worried. I'm worried about the tight end, who was fantastic while Smith and Brown were on the injury. Right. I mean, and then you got Chicago, you got Barkley in the backfield. Like I said, this is, and their offensive line is just big, huge. These are huge individuals. Yeah. I mean, when they're big, they're powerful, they're talented. This offense could kill you in so many different ways, yet all you hear out of Philadelphia is the fans are not happy with the offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I die as a Browns fan. I would die for this offense. I mean, wouldn't you?
Oh my God. Yes. Yes.
But absolutely. when your quarterback can't hold on to the ball, I mean, he's already fumbled, what was it, 5 times this year and lost 3 in 4 games. Yeah. So what you want the Browns to do is control the clock, control the ball, get the fans, the Philly fans who are more fickle than Browns fans.
Yes.
I mean, they threw a snowball at Santa Claus. So get those fans irritated, and that'll put more pressure on Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, with a lot of pressure, makes mistakes. And that's what you got to go on.
Yeah, and
you're going to have some kind of offense, not a concept of an offense, an actual NFL offense.
Yeah, and that's we haven't seen 20 points yet this season.
I know.
It's pretty pathetic right now. Are we going to get 20 points today?
I am not predicting anything on this offense.
Right. The defense, to our strength on the team, they have created some turnovers recently. So the chances of getting a turnover against them today seems pretty high. Do you think? I mean, with what you just said about Jalen Hurts, maybe we can get a pick six or something that would kind of create some, energy and maybe get us to that 20 points.
I mean, somebody besides Myles Garrett is going to have to step up. Zadarius Smith kind of stepped up the beginning of last week's game before it completely got out of hand. Defense they just can't give up big plays. And even Jim Schwartz said that in his meeting with the media. It's killing him. It's killing him. These freaking big plays are just, you got to keep everything in front of them in the secondary, and they got to put pressure on Hurts.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's pause for a quick break. We'll continue our conversation here on our pregame show. This is Steve Gill, and I'm John Suchan. We're part of the Fanatical Elves Network. Thank you for joining us again. We'll be right back. And we're back here on the Fanatical Elves. Thanks for joining us. We have a Browns versus Philadelphia Eagles game coming up at 1:00. We're very, I don't know. Are you excited to see what happens today? What are your overall?
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Kind of like when you're driving up on the interstate and you see a bunch of red and blue lights on the other side, and you go, I wonder what's going on up there.
Right.
Let's just hope it's a guy with a flat tire and not a massive car wreck. Something that can be fixed.
So what are the keys to getting a win today, do you think, Steve?
Like I said, they're going to have to run the ball.
Yeah.
And I was joking the other day about coming out in a wishbone. Why the hell not? I'm serious.
Right.
You line up two running backs in either side of Deshaun Watson in a shotgun. Let's do it.
Right.
I mean, now I think their offensive line will be a little better with Conklin, Wills, and hopefully Michael Dunn.
Yeah.
It's obvious that Nick Harris is going to start at center. I don't know if they'd want to play Dunn at guard because he's their emergency backup center.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see. But hopefully Conklin can play a little bit more and help the pass rush, because Philadelphia doesn't have that many sacks. I think they have 6 sacks, but they all come on blitz.
Okay.
And when they blitz, they're in zero man. And that will create opportunities. Someone will be open.
Yeah.
Like what Bernie Kosar always said, if the other team is blitzing, that means somebody's open. So he just needs time to find the open receiver, and they need to catch it. I know it's not rocket science. Simplicity at its best. Throw the ball, catch the ball.
Now, in our issue though is that Deshaun Watson gets sacked a ton. And even though Philly's only had what you said 6 sacks?
6 sacks.
Or they've created 6 sacks, or they've been sacked?
They created 6 sacks. They don't have a really, really high pressure rate. I think it's like 27%. That's kind of middle of the road in the NFL. But they're going to blitz like crazy today.
Yes,
they're leading. The guy with the leading sacks is one of their linebackers.
Yeah.
So they're going to bring it. They're going to bring stunts. They're going to bring blitzes.
How do we fix
And
this stunt thing? Because we've talked
it's
about
it's
this.
been going on. I follow a guy named Brent Soboleski.
Yes.
He played offensive lineman at a MAC school and coached offensive line at a MAC school. And somebody said we should have never let Bill Callahan go. And he said, well, I hate to tell you this, but this was going on last year too. Go back and look at the game. So I went back and looked at a few games, and he's exactly right. They couldn't pick up stunts when they had Callahan here. So I don't know what the deal is. And it was a different offense than this offense.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the deal is.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't.
I just, okay. Well, so you're not giving us much hope.
Well, going into game 5 with the Guardians against the best pitcher in baseball,
Yes.
18 wins, leads the league in ERA and strikeout. And after they went up 1-0, how much hope did you have at that moment?
Not much. No.
Yeah, we didn't. It just took a hero.
I guess
Lance Thompson.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
No,
you never know. It's sports is totally unpredictable.
I get, like, with the Guardians, we have players, and I guess there's a I don't know, different vibe with that team this year. With the Browns, at least just this year, I'm just speaking of the Browns this year. It just doesn't seem like there's that positive sort of. We're trying to find something to hold on to as Browns fans. Nick Chubb's coming back in a little bit, but it's like I've heard a lot of and seen a lot of talk about, just not finding something with this team to really like. What do you think about that, Steve?
I think it stems from them going to Greenbrier and only having 5 practices open to the public. I mean, that's where your excitement is generated. I mean, sure, Browns fans love the draft. They love free agency. But it really kicks into high gear when training camp starts. People are planning get-togethers. Everybody are figuring out when their friends are going to training camp at the same time they are. But, this Greenbrier thing, and, NFL coaches are superstitious. So they're never going back to Greenbrier. If this season continues to go downhill, I guarantee you, they ain't getting anywhere near West Virginia.
Yeah.
So, and
you really believe that? Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, I believe that.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if this thing falls apart, the only reason they went this year is because they had a great season last year.
Okay.
And if they have a bad season this year, they're not going to go back.
Right.
Okay. Like I said, when my wife and I are coming back from our place in Pennsylvania, driving through Ohio, I wasn't paying attention to it because I was driving, but she just said, is there a lot of excitement for the Browns team this year? And I went, well, yeah. there's excitement. And she said, well, she goes, I go, why? And she goes, I have not seen a flag, a sticker, a bumper sticker of the Browns on any vehicle. And she goes, and that's really weird because when we drive through here, we always see Brown stuff. And, we're still driving and I'm going, God dang, she's exactly right. What the heck's going on? Yeah. And I read somebody who put it this way: Browns fans love the Browns. They just don't like this team.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going back to Deshaun Watson here because I know it's already divided the fan base initially when he came in. And I know it is a factor in my opinion. And I know a lot of people go back to, well, they'll say he was 5-1 last year, which is true. He had a 5-1 winning record. Now, technically, it was really 4-1. They're giving him credit for the win against Indianapolis, but he was, came out of that game early. Regardless, I was looking at his stats, Steve, and this morning, and I know you can look at the stats of Browns quarterbacks none of them have outstanding records. For right now, Deshaun Watson is 9-8 overall as a Browns quarterback. He's played in 17 games. He is, 1-4 this year, going into the 6th game. Do you feel like that? I mean, I feel like that's a factor. You don't see that as much of a factor with why this team is not likable?
I think this team's not likable because they're not winning.
Yeah.
And I can't put all of it on Deshaun Watson. Last year as a starter, the team averaged something like 25, 26 points a game. So it's not all on him. He can't do everything.
Yeah.
Is he making bad decisions at key times? Yeah. Another baseball analogy. He's like the starting pitcher who doesn't trust his defense. He's got to think every pitch is perfect. And
that's a really good point.
If you keep throwing it down the middle, somebody's going to hit it.
Yeah.
Unless you're
that's where I talk to you a lot about. I just think that he's overthinking all the time right now. And maybe he can find it again. I'm not going to say he's a complete bust, but right now it's just like, I think most of us are sitting back there when we're watching games going, we don't have confidence in the quarterback. And that's where it starts on offense.
I don't have confidence in the offense. I don't have confidence in the defense. Yeah. And after that boneheaded play by the guy on special teams when the Washington player signaled for a fair catch, I'm starting to not have any confidence in the special teams. I mean, this is right now, this is a bad team all the way through.
Let me ask you this question about the special teams, because there's this, there's new kickoff rule, that came into play. It seems like Cleveland decided that they're just going to kick the ball out of the end zone when they do have opportunities to kick the ball on a kickoff, and let the other opponent start at the 30. That seems to be their philosophy. Now, I've seen some other teams do that, but I've also seen, like in this morning's game, I saw a couple where they kicked them short, made the player run it back. Where do you fall with all this kicking rule? Do you think it's good for the game right now? It just seems like teams are kind of getting a feel for it.
I think teams are getting a feel for it. I wish that the Browns would kick it inside the 5 and make the other team, because what happened, they've already had it was called back, but they already had a fumble on a kickoff. I think they've had 2, haven't they? One that
potentially,
they got, and one that was negated because of a penalty.
Sure, yeah.
And I believe, if that's going to happen, but then again, your roster, if it's hurt, your special teamers are playing as starters as well. Jordan Hicks is not playing today, and that means Diabete, who got activated, he'll probably be playing in the game. So how much do you want him to play on special teams? Do you want him running down there on kickoffs?
Yeah.
Hopefully, or
do you remember, who was remember years ago, Steve, when we discussed we didn't discuss it, but do you remember Winslow? Remember when Winslow back in the day was on the kicking team and he got hurt? Remember for the Browns? What year? That was way back when. But do you remember all the controversy there because he was on the kickoff? Yeah.
Why is there starting tight end on the kickoff teams? Well, you only have certain number of players on your roster.
Right. Well, I mean, there's a lot we're going to be looking at today. I'm not super. I mean, are these the same old Browns, Steve? Is this what we're getting back to? No,
we're not getting back to same old Browns. I mean, we're not getting back to the GM driving around practice in a golf cart with a cocktail with an umbrella in it. And, we're not having a GM escorted out of the building. And we're not having a head coach who thinks he can be a GM and a head coach by signing players that he wanted to draft at the University of Miami. I mean, those are different times. That's what he did. That's what Butch Davis did. He was a great coach, but he thought, if I tried to sign this guy in Miami, he must be an NFL player. No, he's not. Just because you didn't want Ben Roethlisberger at Miami doesn't mean you could have used him in Cleveland, Butch. But, I don't see it that way.
Okay.
I don't think this is the same old Browns.
Yeah. Okay.
I
don't necessarily either, but this whole season, the way it's begun, have people kind of reverting back to that mindset, and it's hard for Browns fans. I have to admit that it's not easy. It's not easy being green. It's not easy being a reference.
You say so, John.
Reference to Kermit the Frog.
I know.
All you young people that might be watching, what the hell is he saying about being Anyway, well, I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, my toes crossed, say a few prayers, rosaries, whatever we can do to see if we can get a win. Vanderbilt, your buddy, your team Vanderbilt, what a nice, again, I love it. They beat Alabama. And then, you said they were underdogs against Kentucky, but
about 11.5-point underdog going to Kentucky. Kentucky had a big blackout for the game, encouraging all their fans to wear black.
Yes.
And because they were debuting a new uniform, a
didn't
blue
seem to help
black,
though.
Did not help. Remember this name, Diego Pavia.
Who is he?
He's their starting quarterback.
Oh, for Vanderbilt. Okay.
He transferred in. See, Vanderbilt, after last year, where they went on a long losing streak, they lost a ton of players to the portal. They lost their entire quarterback room. I'm serious. They had 3 quarterbacks. They all transferred out.
Yeah.
So they get a bunch of transfer. They get this kid from New Mexico State who last year went into Auburn and beat Auburn.
Oh, that's right.
Auburn.
Yeah.
And they got him. They got the tight end, Sowers, and they got his head coach, who's now the offensive coordinator at Vanderbilt. So I think Diego Pavia,
a football powerhouse, a juggernaut.
He is a Johnny Manziel SEC clone. That's why he wears number 2. Except he's smarter and he's not an idiot like Manziel. He's cleaner too, believe me. And it's just he's beaten Auburn, he's beaten Alabama, so he should run for governor because he already owns the state.
Alabama, by the way, they just got by South Carolina yesterday by the skin of their teeth. They're floundering right now.
Yep. I think Vanderbilt exposed them a little bit.
Yes,
they have a motivational problem.
What about like Indiana? Look at Indiana. We were talking about that. I had a radio program I did yesterday for Voice Corps here in Columbus, and we were talking about Indiana in the Big Ten. They're playing very well. Now they had a bye this week, but we were suspecting that they might get. If you look at their record and then their schedule, they could be in a prime position to. I think Ohio State plays them too later on. That might be a very interesting contest. Later on, Indiana, another powerhouse team that do you know where that Indiana coach comes from? Somebody I haven't looked back at that. Okay, he's been other places and he's had a lot of success. But all right, well, look, the Brownies play this afternoon at 1:00. It's a little after 11. I know everybody out there is getting ready, prepped. You want to see the Browns win. We want to see the Browns win. Rain or shine, we'll be back here for our post-game show. We really appreciate everybody listening to us on Apple, on Spotify. That's where Steve and I make all the big pennies for this. Steve writes also here for Fans First. I also write articles. Lou Marconi writes some articles. We got Noah Olson who writes articles for Fans First as well. They all have their own shows. So please tune in for all their shows this week. Burning River Browns Talk, Browns Breakdowns, Dog Pound South Show, Browns Blitz, you name it, Dog Radio Show, East Bank Sports Show with Noah Olson. There's so many shows we got going here. It's just awesome stuff because we're Browns fans just like you. And we like talking the games. And, we're not happy with where we're at right now, but, we have eternal hope as Browns fans. We've been through the fire and back many times before. This is not the worst moment in Browns history, though some people are saying that right now. Hang in there. They got the Philadelphia Eagles. Anything can happen in the NFL. And if Deshaun Watson decides he can, and we get an offensive line that can give him some time and he can make some good decisions and the defense can create a turnover too, you never know.
Actually tackle somebody.
Tackling would be great.
I know.
Tackling would be great. That's right.
Block, catch the ball, tackle. Boom.
As a former middle school football coach, I just get so tired of seeing these guys, like even in the Buckeye game last night. The Buckeyes lost a lot of mistakes by a variety of things. Players on the one guy that they were really exposing. I don't even know the kid's name. I think it was Burkhead or Burke.
Denzel Burke.
Denzel Burke, supposed to be
their best cover corner.
Yeah, he got burned
used and abused last night.
And then he can't tackle, and he's going high. All these guys reaching for helmets and shoulder pads, and I'm like, what's wrong with you kids? I mean, it's a big problem. And I don't know. And I work with kids on a daily basis. I just don't think coaches these days, and I don't think kids all the time really have the focus and the mental capacity to really, understand the game. I mean, these are simple concepts, and when you see it at the professional level, still, it drives you crazy. It drives all of us crazy as longtime Browns fans, because it's correctable. It's correctable, and hopefully we'll see some good tackling today.
I hope so. And as for last night, I don't know why Ryan Day did not go for 2 on those last 2 touchdowns. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Were you thinking you're going to get the ball back one more time? No.
Yeah.
You get ahead of this team. You put them on their heels. Go for 2. Get it out of the way. It's the smart thing to do, and he didn't do it.
And there's a lot of people down here in Columbus. Well, anybody who's a Buckeye fan who's really complaining about Ryan Day not being the guy, and I don't think he's the guy either. But I didn't think I mean, I watched the game last night. I didn't think this game was lost because of Ryan Day's, mistakes or what. I think it was a collective thing, and we talk about how it's just not one player or one coach that loses games. I mean, certainly Ryan Day could do things better, but I mean, even just that last play of the game, I know, like, Will Howard, the veteran quarterback from K-State. Now, listen, here's the thing, too, Steve. Like, I've watched Will Howard play football for years because he routinely played for Kansas State, and I'm a big Kansas State fan. I lived out there, and the reason that he's in Ohio State now is because Avery Johnson is at K-State and doing a hell of a job there. But Will, is a very good quarterback, but these are big moments. And for him I've seen him make some mistakes when he played at K-State, and he's obviously when he was younger, but that was just a terrible decision. Also thought, the referee, the play prior to that, where he threw the ball to Smith, the offensive penalty on Smith was just terrible. In my opinion, he was within the 5 yards. And the Oregon player actually made contact. He just extended his arm the other direction, and they call offensive pass interference. So, those are little things that they can be corrected. When I saw that last play, weren't you going, you were saying the same thing, like, sit down, like, get down, like, because you could see the clock.
No, running. I was yelling, run. The clock had already hit 0.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I'm going, run.
I'd like to see what he saw in front of him, because, there was a lot of space there. And then I'm thinking, right. Oh, well, everybody, hey, have a great rest of your day. Go Browns. Let's beat those Philadelphia Eagles. We will have a post-game show, rain or shine. I don't know who will be on that show. I'll be here. Steve might be here. We'll see. So take care, everybody. Have a great rest of your Sunday.
Go Browns.
Oh, there. Bye.
Bye. Well, John just left. He doesn't really care. I'm out of here.